So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Just Believe Show. I'm your host, Herbie Mack, and today I'm honored with a lovely guest, Crystal Medley. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for inviting me to this lovely coffee shop. I'm gonna go crazy in coffee. I'm gonna let you know that now. But first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. And thank you for inviting me to meet with you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Before we start our conversation, let the world know about you. Just a little bit about yourself.
I'm Crystal Medley, and I am a person in long-term recovery. I've been in recovery a little over 11 and a half years. And
11 years, 11 and a half years. What did you realize? What's the story behind that? Can you talk about when you realize, like, man, I think there's something going on with me as far as maybe I need some assistance?
yeah, so there was a lot of points a lot of pivotal moments where I knew that there were some things that needed to change, but actually taking that step took me a while. I was pretty heavy on the prescription medications, so oxys, roxys, all those things. And after having my daughter, I slowly just really fell face first into it. So I had a seizure and ended up in a coma for 5 days. And so that should have been like my awakening moments. It wasn't. I signed myself out of the hospital and was like, okay, it's fine. So then DCF gets involved and they're trying to work with me. And I'm seeing them as the enemy. And of course, it's everybody else. I don't
Yeah,
have a
it's not
problem.
me. I'm
Yeah.
not the common denominator in this situation.
Yeah, at this point, I've now pushed away all my family and life is starting to slip little by little. Fast forward I would say that process happened like over 2 years of DCF in and out, her father in and out of jail, and just different things. And they eventually removed her from my care. Again, another moment where it should have been like,
Something should have clicked.
something should
Yeah.
change. Yeah, I'm not doing life right. But that wasn't exactly how that went. Uh, did my case plan, still feeling like the world was out to get me and DCF was an enemy. And they gave her back. I built a house of cards. I presented to them what they wanted to see. And inside, I hadn't changed anything. So I was still really sick on the inside. My mental health was terrible. And the only way that I knew how to cope with that was to numb it. At this point, not only had I lost everything else, but I lost my daughter. I'm really just trying to not feel that.
You.
But somehow I managed to take my way through it. They give her back to me. She's home with me for about a month, and I failed a drug test. I freaked out and took her and left the state.
Wait a minute. Can you talk? Unfortunately, you was addicted to these prescriptions,
Mhm,
right? And then you're sitting there fighting the state to try to get your daughter. Unfortunately, they took her.
mhm.
And now you did everything to get her back, and you failed the drug test. What do you remember your mindset during that time? Because for people who don't understand, when you're dealing with a substance issue, it's not, oh, you don't notice what's going on. It's just sometimes the hurt that we have on the inside, we just want that hurt to stop. For you, when you failed the drug test, I'm pretty sure you was aware that you was.
Yeah.
What was your mindset during the time when you was like, oh man, I gotta leave? Was there fear of her taken away? Where was that at?
So absolutely, it was devastation. It was the worst fear I think that I've ever felt in my life because I knew I had already scarred her. And so now I had to prepare myself for what the consequences might be.
At how old was your daughter? I didn't want to cut you off, but I was just trying to figure out from her perspective, like how
For
four. Okay.
Yeah, super traumatizing for her. She was old enough to realize that things were not okay, but not old enough to understand why they weren't okay. And so that's a whole nother thing. She went through a lot of trauma within that realm being away from me. But I remember that in my mind, I had to do anything I can to protect her.
Yeah.
And it wasn't protecting her from me, it was protecting her from the outside world because
They're trying to keep us apart.
yeah, so the most important thing to me was how do I keep my baby? How do I protect my baby? Not realizing the damage that, of course, I'm causing at this time. And I ended up reaching out to a family member on her dad's side, and her dad was in prison at the time. And her grandparents were like, if you come up here, We can sign over temporary custody. You can get your stuff together. And them thinking they're doing the right thing, just trying to make sure she's safe because they just see this
They'd
person's
rather
an
have
addict.
someone that's in the family to take care of her than a stranger.
Because otherwise, it's our grandbaby's going to end up in the system forever and mom could end up dead. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Let's get her here. Let's get her safe. So they sent me a bus ticket and I get on the bus and I take her and go up to Pennsylvania. And I start this process of signing my rights over for my daughter to the grandparents, still in a fuzz, not knowing what to do. Just like, how do I not, how do I do what's best for her? And not really thinking that I had to do what's best for me to protect her.
Yeah.
Another family member posts a picture on Facebook. Hey, Crystal and her daughter are here visiting the cousins.
That's bad.
Yes, it is. It was like the worst, best thing that
Yeah.
could have ever happened.
Because everybody's trying to show you love and support, but they don't realize that
I'm on the run.
I'm on the run.
I have now kidnapped my daughter and I am a fugitive of the state. They frown upon.
Now they know where I'm at for sure.
Within about 24 hours, the sheriff's department comes. And the grandparents are like, it's a local community, small, close-knit. We know the officer. It's going to be okay. It's just all a big misunderstanding and me downplaying everything. I don't understand. I'm just trying to take care of my daughter. We're on vacation. Literally use those words. We're just on vacation.
We're on vacation. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
Yeah. I had never been arrested before. And the cop comes out. I'm talking with him and they have to bring me in.
Yeah.
Through this point, there is not really a lot of thought. It's just feelings of fear and panic and feeling I've destroyed not only my life, but my daughter's life too. And there's no hope in this moment.
She's going to hate me forever.
Yeah. And I'm never going to see her again because why would the state ever give somebody like me, this piece of crap that's addicted to drugs and now taking her out of the state? Like, why are they ever going to give me a chance with her again? Yeah. So I spent 20 days in jail and it got to that last portion of time where Florida had the chance to come pick me up. And I'm thinking, oh, they're not coming. I'm going to get out. Maybe there's some hope. And her grandma brings my daughter in to the jail to see me. And they tell me that Florida said they have to bring her back to Florida. She can't stay in Pennsylvania. So all of this was pointless because she's now not only not allowed to stay with her grandparents, I'm in jail. So,
and unfortunately, she has to see you
in jail.
Mm-hmm. And that can be altering for any child. Doesn't matter how old they are.
Yes.
My mom my mom chose this place over me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can imagine that. What was your thought process? Do you remember your thought process when you saw her in prison? Well, in jail?
Yeah. My heart was broken. I've gone through loss. I've lost my mom when I was young. I lost my dad when I was young. But this moment, the realization that it was very possible I was never going to see her again, there was nothing more painful than that. And there was no way to numb it. I was in jail, so there was no drugs.
Yeah, there's no drugs or anything.
Yeah.
And you have guards watching you 24/7.
And so they forgot to take the underwire from my bra while I was first in there. And so I pulled it out and they had me in a holding cell. Actually, this was the first night that I was detained. So this was shortly before I got to see her for the last time before she came back to Florida. And I took the underwire out of my bra and I was trying to cut my wrist with it. It was not going to happen. Like that was but in that moment,
you just want to hurt that.
So not thinking that would be way more harmful to my daughter than me being in jail. Like I just wanted to be done. I wanted to stop feeling the way that I felt. And they put me in the turtle suit, took everything and, had me on lockdown for a little while until they were sure that I wasn't going to try to do anything stupid. And then fast forward was when grandma brings her in, I see her, and it was really at that moment just, I'm probably going to be in jail forever. If I ever...
I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
I'm never going to see my daughter.
Yeah.
How long did they keep you in there?
So it was a total, in that facility, I was in there probably about 12 days. It was an overall span of 20 days complete, but 5 of those days were in transport, and so that was a whole 'nother
Oh, I
experience
can
of its
imagine.
own.
I can imagine.
Most people like to go bar hopping, I got to go jail
Oh
hopping,
my
like,
goodness. Oh my goodness. And
the
it's intimidating every jail that you go in.
Yes, and every time they have to do the search, the pat down, and I was in this compartment of a van with 3 other women, and, like, we were shoulder to shoulder, shackled, handcuffed, and the only movement was, like, a little bit forward or a little bit
It's not,
backward.
yeah.
That's it. Other than stopping at these other jails, we weren't really moving, like.
And there's no casual conversation. It's just, I want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was terrible, and the other women in there I noticed were pretty much just as broken as me, and we that was probably also an eye-opening moment.
I can imagine. Was that your first moment of, okay, I got to get my life together?
I would say that very first moment was when I filled that drug test back before I left the state. I remember I got in the shower and I dropped to my knees in the shower, like this trailer blue tub. You can imagine like the 70s style rundown trailer. Like, just dropped to my knees and I'm begging God, please help me fix this, save me, protect my daughter. So that was that very first moment. And he did eventually, but it wasn't the way that I
Yeah, it wasn't the way
hoped.
of, oh, we're going to go leave the state. She's going to be with grandma, grandpa.
It's all fine.
It's going to be, oh, yeah. It was like, no, I'm going to not only help you, daughter, I'm going to help you in the way what you need
Hmm.
to get off this path. And the only way, I feel like the only way to get off that path is like to go through something that you've never been through before.
Yeah.
And this is the experience that you've never been through. You're going jail hopping.
Yes.
And not only that, but you get violated. Like, I can't just get around, walk around. I can't eat what I want to eat. I'm told what time to eat.
Yep.
I have this bathroom that I can just use. And it's not like it's the cleanest bathroom, you know?
And there is no privacy. Like
What is
there's
that? What is
yeah,
that? Yeah. Like they don't.
exactly.
And that's for someone who never been in that position, I can imagine. And, that mindset can be like, what do I do next?
Yeah. Yeah.
And after you got released, what was your steps after that?
One moment that I had that I was in jail leading up to being released was I went to this, they called it chocolate church.
Okay.
And so it was like a Bible study where this lady would hand out chocolate. And the weirdest thing was like she had this light in her eyes. And I couldn't tell you to this day what her name was, what she looked like, nothing.
But you can remember how she made you feel.
Yeah. And I wanted that. And so that moment, it gives me chills. That moment was that huge eye-opening something is going to change in my life. So when I got released, when I got back down to Florida and I finally got released out of Land O'Lakes, my best friend from childhood had come to pick me up. And I was scared to death to be back in the place that everything started. I had now been clean for 20 days, the first time in years that I had any
Oh,
kind of clean time.
yeah.
And so my first thought was being back and not being in jail. How do I step forward, find out what I need to do to get my daughter back? And how do I do what I need to do for myself? Because without that, her getting into the picture is not
It's
relevant.
never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I called my caseworker and I was like, listen, I've been released from jail. Like I need help. I need detox or not detox, residential. I need something.
Something that one to help me out, but hold me accountable.
Yes.
And I need to change my situation because obviously if I know the situation, I'm going to go to that bar. I'm going to go hang out with my friends. I'm going to go get high. And that's something that I applaud you for that. That is very brave. Not too many people are willing to take that first step.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy call, but I knew the only thing I knew in that moment outside of the safety net of my best friend being there for me, everybody else, I had burned all my bridges. I had no positive support, no network of people that I could reach out to. My family, I pushed them all away
Yeah.
while I was using. And then so the only other people that I knew and the only coping mechanisms that I had was to use and then to reach out to people that were using. So I knew that wasn't gonna
Yeah.
do me any good. So they get me a court order. The case manager gets a court order from the judge to say that to help me get into treatment. But I have no insurance. Like I have no money.
I'm broke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is
So,
the state going to help me pay for this? Is it? Yeah.
so I reach out to a couple places and they're like, There's a wait list, there's this, there's that. There's nothing we can do. Like our hands are tied. So I'm initially panicked and my friend takes me to church. And so that started an upward climb
Mhm.
into this journey that wasn't easy, but it was amazing steps forward towards where I am now. The church that I went to, they had a recovery group. And so I just dove in. If I couldn't get to a safe place in an official treatment center, I was going to find
Yeah.
and make a safe place out here. And thankfully, it was led to that. And it was Sunday morning church and a Wednesday evening church, and then a young adults ministry and recovery church. And
That sounds like that was your support system and also your accountability partner
yeah,
as well. And how long was it right away? Like you was able to stay sober from there? That is amazing.
yeah.
That is amazing. From there, my question for you, was it easy once you got your support system, once you started attending these meetings, was it easy to get your daughter back right away or
No,
was it still challenging?
no, there was a whole process and they were going to make it much harder for me this time because they knew I had faked it before. This time they really wanted to make sure to protect her because it was not in her best interest for them to be like, oh, mom seems better. Let's give her back. She
Still in
didn't.
the same environment.
Yeah. Yeah. So they were like, no, that's not happening this time. Like, we're going to make you jump through hoops of fire. And I did. There were days that I walked miles to get to appointments and just whatever I had to do, it didn't matter. Like at that point, it was, I'm going to do anything that I have to do to be my best self and to show with action and not just with words that I'm strong enough to not only be healthy for myself, but to be a mom for my daughter.
You can make a comment. Well, kind of onions here. While you're in there, you're working towards recovery. Was you able to get back into outpatient or anything like that?
Yeah. So thankfully, I was able to get involved with Baycare and they had an outpatient program. So I was doing parenting groups, I was doing substance abuse classes, I was doing outpatient therapy and then group therapy as well. They had me with a pretty full schedule.
That sounds like a full-time job.
Yeah.
But beautiful.
Which is interesting because in the case plan, you also have to have
A
a
job.
job and be able to set up a safe environment for your child to live in and all this. So you have all these classes you need to do. And
So you're doing double time.
yeah, yeah.
How long did you have to do double time pretty much?
Hmm. I would say probably at least 9 months.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. And then with the 9 months, I'm pretty sure because I know for myself, like trying to knock off my substance,
Mhm.
right? Like my substance of choice was alcohol, which is like everywhere.
Yeah,
But my substance was alcohol. And I had to have the discipline and the willpower to look in the mirror and say, I'm not my addiction.
yeah,
Right. But not only say that, believe it, but put myself in a situation where it's, oh, I'm not going to the bar. I'm not going to the liquor store. Unfortunately, my liquor store knew me. I was there like 7 days a week. Okay.
yeah.
So I was like, based off of my energy, the guy's like, okay, you want a bottle of Hennessy? Oh, no. Oh, Patron. Oh, you have some friends over. He already knew,
Here,
right? He
yeah.
already knew. Sad. But I knew for myself, it was very challenging to believe that in your self-confidence. So I'm not that person that I used to be. What was the step for you? What was the moment for you to say, I am not that person during that? Was it after the 9 months? Was it during the 9 months where you're like, I'm not that person anymore. I'm not going back. Or was it even before that?
I would say it was during. It was in the early stages, but I still had days. They would creep up on me and I would have to like work to reset where my thought process was. And that I still to this day there's
Oh, every day.
yeah.
Every day is a, I don't want to say a battle, but every day you do have those moments. And you're just like, no, I'm not that. I don't want that.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one thing that I heard on one of your podcasts is that you were talking about being better than you were previously. I think one of your guests had said 1% better each
Just
day.
1%.
And that resonated with me because it's something that I live by. And I also tell my kids is I'm never going to be perfect. It's not going to happen. But I can promise to always strive to be better today than I was yesterday. So as long as I can do that, then
Yeah. Yeah. And also, like, I had to learn during the recovery process is to take myself out of that environment. I had friends that I was the party animal. Hey, Herbie, if Herbie comes out, he's going to spend at least $200 at the bar because he's
right.
buying everybody shots or he's buying shots. And I had to learn to say no, but learn how to get out of that environment and be uncomfortable in the new environment,
Yeah.
right? Because this is a new version of me. And that was something that was very scary
Yeah.
because I used to live by USF and then I moved all the way to St. Pete. Didn't tell anybody. I just got up and moved.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anybody in St. Pete. I had a lot of friends in St. Pete, but I didn't tell them where I lived. I was just like trying to learn who I am. And even then, the urges of wanting to drink was still there because it was like, oh, this is scary. Let's go back to something that we know.
Right.
Was any of that happening during the time of your recovery?
Absolutely. I had to, anybody that I had known basically since I was 14, for the most part, that I had kept interacting with throughout those early days of recovery were all people I had used with or that had those talks that brought out, I allowed to bring out those toxic
I love that.
traits in myself. So I really had to dig into building connections with those people through the church, reconnecting with my family. And that also took a lot of time. And just really learning new things that I actually enjoy doing because those are all really important, especially in those early stages of recovery. Who am I? What do I do? How do I keep myself from being that person and becoming my addicted self again? Yeah, I guess just really working to stay away from all of those old
Yeah.
places, people, places, and things, and pushing myself to be uncomfortable and interact with new people and just try to find positive ways to
Yeah.
work on myself.
Yeah. You go through all those obstacles in the 9 months. Was it right away that the state was like, hey, you pass everything, you can go be mom now?
No. So what they ended up doing is they had a longer visitation schedule for me. So before, like the first time around, it was within a couple of months, I went from where it was like supervised to unsupervised to here she's home. So with this situation, because I had screwed it up so badly before, visits were much longer supervised visits, and there were also therapeutic supervised visits. And then we started with unsupervised, but those lasted a while. So it was probably maybe 2 months, 3 months even before I got to an overnight.
Nice.
Yes. And even then, I still didn't have my own place yet. So I had to make sure that the environment that I was staying at, which was at my sister's, the state had to come in and check her home and vet everybody to make sure that this was a safe place for my daughter to be. So those were all things that were challenges. But ultimately, I was able to get a small little trailer, and it was the very first place that I got on my own. And the state approved that little trailer for me to have overnights there. And so then I was able to spend time with her by myself, which was amazing. And then she eventually ended up coming home. And now she's been home with me. She's 16, going to be 17 in February. And
That's amazing.
yeah.
Just man, I'm trying not to cry here. Do you remember? I'm pretty sure you probably do. That moment when you was like, man, she's home to stay. Like, how would you feel? Was that like your big victory? That was like your championship? How was that?
It was, but there was a lot of fear behind that too. And I think that what a lot of people don't realize when you go through that, it's, oh, she's home. That is the victory. But there's a whole new challenge now. So now you're a new version of yourself, or trying to be.
Mhm.
You're still learning how to cope with life. And now you're having to learn how to
I gotta be a parent.
be a parent. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I remember at one point the caseworker saying to me, okay, clearly you're good with being her friend. Are you ready to be her mom? And I was agitated with that comment at first. And now it resonates with me still to this day because I understand more of what she meant, because being a parent is not easy. And then you throw in all those other obstacles, and there were days where it was very challenging. And I had to realize it was okay to make that phone call, to reach out to somebody and say, today's hard.
Yeah.
I'm not winning it today. I'm not winning in parenting. I need somebody
Yeah.
to be with me in this moment so that I can readjust and then try again.
I'm so glad you said that, because even if you're not on the road to recovery, or just parenting is hard in general.
Yes.
There's days where, my kids are 3 and 5. And the older they get, I know it's going to be more challenging, right? And learning how to balance the discipline part. Okay, not only do I have to be dad, but I have to be the teacher as well. And then not only do I have to be the teacher, but trying to be their friend to create that safe space. So it's so challenging. And then the amount of energy that kids take mentally, right? I'm repeating myself all over.
Yeah.
Don't do this, don't do that. But then also learning that it's okay to ask for help. I'm overwhelmed. Today is not my day. I can't be the best parent. Hell, I can't even be the best for me today. You know what I mean? And using that, I'm a massive advocate for having a support system, but being very direct with my support system. My sister's part of my support system. I'm just like, hey, look, I got a dream. I don't want no feedback. I don't want none of that. I'm just going to go on a 6 minutes here. Leave me alone.
Just be here
Just
for me.
be here
Just
for
hear me.
And it's vice versa. And like, creating that space, and it helps out not only with her and me, but it's okay. When she vets, I'm like, okay, it ain't that easy to be a parent. It's not. So I'm glad that you said that. And I'm glad that you actually was vulnerable with that, because I find that very courageous. And that's the lesson, right? Like, even no matter how it looks, like sometimes you still have to ask for help, or I like to say, use your resources. Okay, look, I have resources that is highly valuable. Let me use them. And some days I may lean on them more than others. So I'm grateful for that. Before we wrap this up, there's a segment that I have. I'm new to this. Not new, but it's a new segment. It's called The Honest Statement. Just pretty much 5 questions I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
And then from there, we're going to have a closeout thoughts, your closeout thoughts, and then that's going to be it. Okay?
All right.
All right, cool. All right. Question number 1. What is the best advice that you received about recovery?
The best advice that I've received about recovery.
Or even your mental health?
Community, building that support network. It's so crucial. Yeah. And ownership.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that we have to be willing to admit that we have faults. We're human. We all have faults, no matter what on social media and how perfect Susie or Sally's life seems. We all have faults. And so owning that allows us to grow. And I love that.
Number 2. What is the most heartwarming moment that you've had during this journey?
That's a really hard question. I would say that it's just when I take a step back and I look at all the blessings that I have in my life right now, that is my most heartwarming moment.
Oh. Okay. All right. Oh, man, I feel like you already answered this, but here it goes. Oh, no, you didn't. How can we create a loving and supportive community regarding recovery?
Speak up, be open. I think that people in recovery need to be comfortable. And the more that we speak up and we talk about it, the easier it will be. There was a long time in the beginning of my recovery that I did not put it out there to anyone. It took me a long time to realize that my healing, by bringing it to other people and admitting that this is what I've been through, this is my life's journey, that it also helps with other people finding their healing. And so I think that's the best way to create a safe space, is just keep talking about it.
Yeah, having those conversations. Okay. What is the biggest challenge facing recovery, and how can we overcome it?
I think that wraps back into the
The
former question.
yeah.
It's just the stigma around it. People are scared to admit that they're struggling. And I hope that as conversations like this continue, that more people will feel comfortable reaching out and talking about it.
Yeah, and I wish there was more seeing it more on social media as far as organizations talking about it,
Mhm.
right? That's one of my biggest things because even though I talk about like suicide and mental health, I've been blessed. December would the end of December would be 6 years of being sober. And that's one of the things I'm like, man, I didn't know about it too much. Like I didn't see it talked about on social media. Like as
Right.
you say, and I was searching for it, but it just didn't click, it didn't register. So that's one of my goals is to start talking about it and building that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just said this, but how how have social media or the internet have impact the conversation about understanding recovery?
I think that we have the ability to make it positive when we're sharing things like what you were just saying. And just there's also that negative side where we can, people that are in active addiction can, or even in recovery, or even just struggling with their mental
Yeah.
health, can see social media posts and get under this assumption that they're the only ones, that everybody else has this perfect life. So that's why it's so crucial that as we step into recovery, or whether it's our struggles or our victories, that we share those
Yeah.
so other people can see that reality has ups and downs and it's not all just peaches and sunshine. And that's okay.
Far from it. Far from it. Great answers. I find your story super inspiring. And even from what you were saying, I'm going to take some and make myself better off of it. Man, because even for myself mentally, I'm just like, I'm drained some days. And some days I need that inspiration. I need that help. To hear what you just shared is not only inspiring, but it gives me that drive to keep on going and keep on pushing. Because it's like, when I don't have it those days, I can sit back and listen to this, right?
Right.
Or I can just, hey, let me just text you real fast. Dude, I'm feeling at this moment. Do you have anything for me? So I find it rewarding to connect with you, like seriously. So before we wrap this up, is there anything that you would like to share to the followers or to the listeners?
One thing that I'd like to share with you
Sure.
is just that I'm really grateful for you having this conversation with me and asking me to be a part of this. I also feel that by hearing your stories and other people, it is that key. Sometimes we just need that little bit of hope. And as far as for the listeners, it's okay to have bad days. Be gentle with yourself and don't be scared to ask for help, because there's people here ready to listen, and you're not alone.
You're not. Oh, yeah. I want to make sure that we clear this up. That now, how long have you been sober?
April 4th of 2012, a little over 11 years.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And thank you for everything. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Peace.